Hi and welcome everyone to another episode of Hobo Prepper. Friar Tuck here. Okay, so we got a rainstorm going on behind me, and there is thunder and lightning, so you might hear that crack in the background. I apologize. No way to edit it out. With that being said, today's episode is going to be on homelessness during SHTF. Now, during SHTF, we're expecting the Great Dispossession. Billy Meyer has given his prophecy, and we are just waiting for it to completely unfold. But as an expectation, I would expect anywhere from 10 to 20% of the population to become dispossessed, and a large chunk of those becoming homeless. Let's say at least 80 to 90% of them, because very few people, once they get dispossessed, will be able to afford to be able to keep a roof over their head. Very few people will actually have that opportunity. And so homelessness as a lifestyle, and then homelessness as a consequence, these are two come-froms that you could have should you get caught up in this situation during SHTF. We're watching everything crumble around us, so it's better to be prepared and to figure out which path you're going to go. So let me explain what one is, and then I'll explain the others, and then we can talk about it a little bit. So homelessness by consequence, it's pretty much self-explanatory, but the negative effects of it are you're going to be dealing with depression a lot more. You're not accepting your conditions because you're wanting to work your way out. You want to get that roof over your head, so on and so forth. And whether the circumstances and the situation and the environment are conducive to allow you to be able to go out and find a job, get a roof over your head, and get back on your feet. If there are no opportunities, and opportunities are dwindling because the Federal Reserve wants unemployment at 7%, then you might be dealing with suicide, suicidal thoughts, suicidal tendencies. I have seen it in my travels. I was in Portland, and this kid jumped in front of a MAX train underneath the Burnside Bridge, which is where the homeless kind of hang out in downtown Portland. It is under the Burnside Bridge. And so this kid, he just had enough of it because he saw it as a circumstance, which, again, it is a negative emotion in a lot of ways when you look at it from a homeless man's point of view. Because here's the thing, as a lifestyle, which the first few times I went out, I treated it as a consequence. Okay, I lost everything. I need to pull myself up by my bootstraps and move on. But by the time I had hit 25, 26, I'd already kind of accepted it as a lifestyle. And accepting it as a lifestyle is, in so many ways, it removes your attachment. You're no longer pining for something that you can't have, that you truly desire because you're absolutely convinced that that's what you need to be able to live, versus I'm accepting my circumstances, and I'm looking at it and going, okay, so what, I gotta sleep out in the elements? Let me find a nice place to sleep, so let me search around, let me do this. And you start approaching things differently. You're not sad, you're not depressed, you're not constantly fiending for the next way to make money. And a lot of I would say about 90% of your homeless out there look at it from a consequence point of view. There are very few people that look at it from a lifestyle, because the thing is, that's why I'm able to be a nomad. That's why I'm able to do the things that I'm doing, because once I accepted being homeless as a lifestyle, as okay, this is just another part of who I am. Once I accepted it, the experiences that I had, the experiences and the stories that I can tell that nobody else has been through. So let me tell you a couple of them. So I have gotten an opportunity to meet a Rothschild, a top 0.1% or 0.01%. At first, I thought the guy was full of it until he proved himself to be who he was. And then I'm like, wow, I didn't realize who I was dealing with. Because when I met him, I thought he was a bum, but he wasn't. And I got to go and live right next door to Berkeley. I got to do some things some of the things I can't talk about on here because it might get me in some trouble. But I'm hanging out with a billionaire, with a multi-billionaire, so it's not like, as long as I'm with him, I'm not getting in trouble. Let's see, I've got to meet Italian Mafia, Mexican Mafia, the OG of San Antonio, Latin Kings. I have met various other gang leaders. I have met political people that have been. Okay, so I met this guy when I was in San Francisco. You remember when they had the inspectors go over to Iraq? Well, this guy was one of those inspectors. And because Bush didn't like what was going on, this guy ended up getting his whole pension and everything completely taken away from him. And he's fighting he's fighting in court to be able to get his stuff back. But the thing is because of the secrecy behind it, he really doesn't have a lawyer that could help him. So he kind of got stuck out there, and he was a few years away from Social Security, so I don't know if they even took that away from him. But because he didn't follow along with what the Bush administration had wanted, he was kicked out. The Beirut, Lebanon, the barracks bombing. I met the guy that was actually on duty, had left his post, which is what allowed that to happen. The guy is like, that absolutely destroyed the guy, because being a Marine, that's family, and he screwed up, and it destroyed him for the rest of his life, because he allowed that to happen. That's why I won't tell you who he is. I know who he is, but it is something that I've had the opportunity to go all kinds of places. I've met millionaires and billionaires. I've had lots of money and I've had no money. I've met people that have had some of the greatest amounts of kindness and some of the most heinous acts you would imagine to man. But I would have never been able to have those experiences unless I would have accepted it and chose it as a lifestyle, to be able to look at it and go, okay, my life is just to be on the road. Depending upon what I'm doing and where I'm going, is a lot of what I would do is just stay in a city, kind of migrate around the city, make my money, move on to the next city, have the experiences, go to the tourist traps, just go around and enjoy myself as I'm traveling around the country. And I traveled a good portion of the lower 48 doing this, and because I was able to accept it as a lifestyle. And so the thing is what really kind of turned me around from my stability is that I was able to, because I accepted it as a lifestyle, when it was time for me to come off the streets, I came off the streets, and I was able to be stable at a time when I needed to be stable. And it has allowed me to have the success, because the thing is when you fight it and treat it like it's a consequence, you're fighting it. You're going against the grain. You're not bringing harmony to the situation. Even if you plan on getting a place and getting up and getting out on your own and stuff like that, you still need to accept it. It is not a consequence. It is a new experience, and you need to experience this so that you have a completely different perspective on life. This is what's going to help you acquire wisdom, so that when you interact with other individuals, you will have a greater understanding, and to be able to show empathy on a larger or grander level, because you're able to see things through multiple point of views, because you've been at the top and you've been at the bottom and you've been everywhere in between. And when you look at it as a consequence, you're pitting your hope, like your total survival, on being able to have a roof over your head. And when you're not able to accomplish it, especially when you've been trying to work at it for 3 months, and stats say that by the time you've reached 6 months, you're out there. You may still look at it as a consequence, which means now you look at it as shame. I'm not ashamed of being homeless, because being homeless doesn't make me a junkie. It doesn't make me lazy. Being homeless means that I choose not to pay rent and save my money and have more freedom to go do what I want to do, and not really be beholden to very much. Now, yes, I do have to suffer with the elements and society and the environment and stuff like that, because of the other section, the large majority that are consequence bearers. These guys are carrying their own cross and self-loathing in so many ways. And does it make me less of a human being because I choose not to pay rent? Because I want to be able to have the freedom to do things that are meaningful and that I feel will actually make a difference. And if I'm not tied, if I don't have that physical tie to money, if I don't have that physical tie to possessions or materials, then what it means for me is that I now am free to pursue the things that I feel will be most beneficial to society. And I think that this is something that we lost when we came into the Industrial Revolution, is because we were taken off the farms, we were taken away from the minimal life. I mean, in a lot of ways, we had a lot to do because the technology wasn't there, but if the technology would have showed up, but still the people would have stayed in their life, I think that you would have a lot more people doing this. And I wouldn't be surprised if this is why you hear about this a lot in Europe, is that, you know, as a person, there's more to life than running around in circles to put a roof over your head, to pay an exorbitant electric bill, to vote for a politician that's going to screw you over, and then you're getting lied to, deal with propaganda, because it's nothing more than a quest for power. And yet you want to keep running around in that rat race. And at some point, either you got to realize that it's detrimental to you, or you've got to take a moment and you've got to step out and go, okay, I'm done, and just exit stage left. You know, that's all you really need to do. So I hope that this was beneficial. I hope that you guys learned something, and I hope that you guys have a different perspective. If this doesn't make sense, or if I left some ambiguities, or if it was unclear, please tell me, and I will make sure to clarify, whether it be in another video or whether it be in a comment. And thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Oh, and don't forget to like and subscribe and share.